Are you searching for a home? And can't quite get that perfect place for yourself with this busy real estate market? Well, today is your lucky day. I'm here to talk to you about the secrets of winning an offer on a house for you today in this market. This is a special offer today for you and your family. Just click on the link below for your access to the secret of winning offers. Only $59.99, $99.95 for you and your friends and your family today. Only click below. That's the way it's kind of mean seeming, right? I'm here to tell you there is no secret. But today we are going to talk about the 8 steps to a winning offer. Hey everybody, it's Tristan with Mindful Living Realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk everything about moving to Rapid City and the wonderful things of Rapid City and the Black Hills. So I'm sure you've seen many of the national articles. Real estate bubble is going to collapse. It's going to have another real estate market collapse like 2008. And maybe that's true. And in my last real estate market video, I talked about things slowing down a little bit here locally. But I also said, I wonder if it's going to pick back up. And guess what? In the past few months, I've put together a number of offers where all of a sudden, people were out buying again. And quickly. I lost one offer to a cash buyer for $25,000 over asking price. Multiple offers. My buyers won one last week for $15,000 over asking price with 6 offers on the table. I went to show a property on the southwest side of town around $450,000 and there was showing after showing after showing after showing scheduled that evening for that property. So while things might not be selling as quickly as they were earlier in 2021, there's still a lot of buyers out there. Inventory is getting a little bit better, but it's still limited, and buyers are out there purchasing properties. So you got to be prepared for that multiple offer situation and what you need to know about getting ready for that, doing your homework, and then making that the offer that best suits your needs, the needs of the seller, and hopefully gets you accepted. All right, so here we go. Step 1 is, of course, the homework phase. Doesn't do any good to go out and look at properties if you don't have your approval in place, or a bank letter from your financial institution saying, yes, I got cash. We need to have something ready to go when you're ready to make that offer so that you can just present it and say, hey, here we are. We don't need to be waiting a day or two for a pre-approval. That's just going to ruin the whole thing. Make sure you got your homework in place. That pre-approval needs to be in place. The cash letter needs to be in place. We need to have proof that you can buy the property however you plan on buying said property. So here's when we talk about local lending. So Rapid City, we're not big, we're small, we're local, we're person to person. So your offer is going to be stronger with a local lender attached to it than a national Rocket Mortgage or Lending Tree, etc., etc., etc. Now I've worked with some companies that have worked out okay, but when I have a local lender involved, I know as a listing agent that I know where I can go find this person. Right? We know we can get a hold of these people. If the national lending company decides to not do their job, we don't have phone calls and emails, and if they don't respond to them, we're stuck. We can't do anything about that. But a local person, because of our small local community, also wants to do good by us because we send them referrals back and forth. The national company, we're probably a dime a dozen. I strongly encourage you to consider using a local lender for your approval for your mortgage. Because when it comes to 6 offers on the table, although yours might be the highest offer, if it's a Rocket Mortgage type corporation, that might sink a few places down if this offer over here is just a few thousand less. But we know it's going to get done because it's a local lender. So in this first homework step, not only do you have your pre-approval, you also have know what you want and know what you don't want at a property. That way you're not wasting time in things you don't want to look at. But in some cases, that know what you want and don't want might just simply be a house in my price point, right? That might simply be the criteria enough just to get into something that you can live in and make your own from that point thereafter. The third part of this is having realistic expectations. Consider the fact that prices have gone up considerably in the past year. Even in the past 6 months, I'm seeing properties where I'm like, that's that much, really? So make sure that you understand that that great kitchen that you think you're going to buy for $300,000 might not be reality in this market. So check those expectations at the door So when you move forward with that price point, whatever price point you're in, you can say, okay, I understand, I'm not going to quite get what I want, but at least wise, I'm getting into something, I'm getting into that property, into the Rapid City area. In a tight market, you have to make fast decisions. You have to move forward quickly, and I know it's tough when I'm saying, okay, what do you want to do? You got to find out right now what do you want to do. You're doing right now, what do you want to do? So here's where you need to trust your gut. This is where you need to make a decision based less upon what's up here and more upon what's down here. Ask yourself the question, well, how does this property make me feel? When I'm walking in the door, am I smiling? Am I, yep, I can make this work? Or at least wise, have the potentiality of saying, yep, this property, I think we can make this happen. I'm happy with this. And when making an offer on this property, ask yourself this question. If it were to sell for $5,000 more, would you have said, yeah, I had to pay $5,000 more? Or would you have said, nope, that was it, $5,000, that's it? That is the question to ask yourself before making an offer, if the extra $5,000 is worth it or not. What does it feel like? How would it feel when I come back to you and say, hey, sorry, you lost it by $5,000. What's that going to be? What are you going to think? What are you going to think about that? So when we're looking at properties, not only do we need to make sure that the boxes are checked, square footage needed, bedrooms, bathrooms, price point, all those kind of things. We also make sure we trust the gut and say, hey, how does this make me feel? How do I feel about buying this property? How do I feel if I lost this property? All those are good questions to ask yourself to find out, okay, yes or no, I'm moving forward on the property that we're looking at right in front of us. All right, we've got our pre-approval in place. We've trusted our gut and we're going to say, yep, this is the property I want. Now it's time to write the offer. Here in South Dakota, that's a 3-page form that we fill out. We talk about earnest money, we talk about purchase price, we talk about home inspections, all these different things that we want to put together. And obviously, we're going to try to make this thing as clean as possible. Now, obviously, the most important thing here is to put your money where your mouth is. In this environment, asking price is basically a lowball offer. So you've got to present your offer in such a way that'll be stronger than the others without being crazy stupid in the process as well. For instance, earnest money. A couple of years ago on a $300,000 property, I may have considered $500 being okay for earnest money. Now maybe you should make that $1,000, $2,000. Give it a little more oomph to make sure that your offer stands out a little more. Now, what about home inspection contingency? Personally, I haven't done a lot of offers without that home inspection contingency. I know other places have talked about just getting rid of that and moving forward, buying the property. Of course, that's a conversation we can have. But generally speaking, home inspections are pretty still normal around here and are included in said offers. Now, sometimes time frames are a little shorter or whatever, and maybe the seller's like, well, it's a seller's market, I'm probably not going to do a whole lot, but you can have your contingency, that kind of thing. Now, if you have a home to sell, obviously that creates a challenge on multiple offer scenarios, but sometimes you just got to put it in there, submit it, and see what happens. It's really important that your home is already under contract before we start putting offers in for properties, because lease-wise, then we know it hopefully will close versus maybe it will close someday. So having the home sale contingency in place is better if your home is under contract where you're at in whatever state that you're in. So really, there's no secret here. On the general offer itself, keep it clean. Don't add any stupid, goofy stuff in there. If few as contingencies as possible. And put your money out there. You're going to have to pay the piper for what you want. All right, now I want to talk about the escalation clause, which is a piece of the offer, which I usually like to include when there's a potentiality of multiple offers or when there definitely is multiple offers. So most of the time, right? What this escalation clause is it says that you're willing to pay an X amount of money above the highest net offer that the seller has received, not to exceed whatever that number is. So if the purchase price is $400,000 and you want to offer $400,000 as asking price plus $500 more than the highest net offer, not to exceed $425,000. So if an offer comes in at $410,000, you're paying $410,500. If an offer comes in at $420,000, you're paying $420,500. If an offer comes in at $425,000, you're done. And as we mentioned before, if it comes in at $425,000, you're like, yep, that's okay. It's as much I'm going to feel like paying. I'm okay with that. Then that's good. If it comes in at $430,000 and you said, maybe you should offer $430,000 as your max, right? Now, not everybody loves these. Sometimes it causes some confusion back and forth. And it's a great way, though, of being able to find out the spot between the asking price and your top dollar without actually just throwing money at it. You know, if you just throw an offer when a home was at 400 and you just throw 425 at it, well, what if you could have got it for 410 if the highest offer was 405, right? And of course, we can tweak this escalation clause too to give it more power, where we can say, you know, hey, we'll pay $5,000 above the highest offer up to X, or $1,000 above this up to X. All those kind of things, we can work that based upon your comfort level and how we can make it best work for everybody involved. But I always recommend an escalation clause, even if we have the chance of having a multiple offer, just to make sure that you get protected in this whole presented offer scenario. Now, of course, consider the fact that in a multiple offer situation, the seller pretty much can do whatever they want. So they might just completely ignore the escalation clause and say, hey, I'll give you a counter. Here's a counter for 423. And it's up to you to say yes or no or whatever you want to do. All right, so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about an escalation clause. It helps you to get a property for the highest amount that you're willing to spend without just throwing it out there and leaving money on the table. All right, another addition to writing the offer is the appraisal gap. The appraisal gap is the difference between the actual appraisal and, because we're paying over listing price usually, the actual purchase price. So a lot of times there's a 10, 15, 20, whatever that gap is, that we're not going to know until the appraisal gets out there and takes a look at the property. So we want to make sure that we let the seller know, hey, we understand that we're offering more than appraisal value, and if that appraisal comes in lower, we're willing to pay cash between the difference here and here. That gives the seller clear indication that yes, you understand that if the home does not appraise for the total purchase price, the whole thing is over with. So if you got 5, 6 offers in a row, the one that does not mention any kind of appraisal gap coverage may be the one that's slowly set aside, because if the appraisal doesn't come into that full purchase price, you guys might be having an argument about purchase price. And that's not something you want to do at the end of the transaction. Let's say we're working on buying a property at $400,000. We've escalated that up to 420 and we get accepted at 420. The appraisal comes in at 400, no problem, we'll pay cash above, everything's fine. But what happens if that appraisal comes in at 350? Suddenly, the $20,000 appraisal gap is now $70,000. Well, that's a bit different than just 20. So we like to define that bottom end, even if it's a little bit lower than asking price, to give the sellers a little breathing room. Leastwise, we say, hey, that appraisal contingency is in effect. Here's the bottom end, but we understand that we're paying from appraisal value to purchase price value. That then gives the seller clear indication about what they can expect, and there's no arguments later on, and they understand, okay, these guys got a feel for how things are going, they got cash to put if we need to, this is clear and concise, we understand this. So that is appraisal gap coverage, making sure that you are protected on the bottom end as well, and making sure that you guys aren't paying too much on that appraisal gap if that appraisal should suddenly come in way lower than expected, and suddenly everybody's in a tizzy. All right, I think we're on point number 6 of our 8 tips to winning an offer. And that's to pose the question, is cash still king? Does it still rule all? Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Don't expect that because your offer is all cash, no contingencies, blah, 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 that it's going to rule the day in every situation. Sellers, they like money too. I've seen situations where a seller will take another offer that's higher than a cash offer to get that extra money, even as low as $5,000, even though their other offer was a quick close, no home inspections, etc., etc. So if you have cash and you want to buy the property with cash, you still have to play the game, you still have to play the market. You may still consider an escalation clause. I understand you probably won't have the appraisal part of it, but you might want to consider adding an escalation clause, maybe to get above that other cash offer, or to make sure that your offer is the highest up to a certain point, whatever you're willing to spend. But don't automatically assume because you have cash, you're the one that's going to get that offer. All right, so let's talk a little bit about buyer love letters. I know you've heard about the practice of sending a letter with the offer, talking about how you love the property, make it all emotional and everything, and that's how I would tell you to do it too. Make it real, make it about how you feel about the property, etc. Tell the seller how much you love their property. Some people have done videos, they've done music videos. It's just gone crazy in the country lately. Now, there have been some arguments about whether or not that is legal and ethical, etc., on the realtor side of things. As realtors, we of course can't discriminate because of sex, nationality, etc., etc. But as realtors, we have a code of ethics, which also has rules about discrimination against gender, familial status, and marital status, among some others. So if I'm looking at 5 offers on the table, and one's a single guy, and one is a family with 10 kids, and one is a single mother, now I really can't discriminate against any one of these. And maybe you as a family person like the big family, so you want to give it to the family person. And maybe we've got buyer letters from all 3 of these people talking about who they are and how they want to buy your property. Now, if the seller decides to choose one offer over the other in this scenario, and the single guy decides that he feels discriminated against because, oh, he's a single guy, and you're discriminating against him, all of a sudden we got a little lawsuit kind of thing going on. Hence, the question continues. Should you or should you not present a buyer's letter? There are some states that have made it illegal. They banned buyer letters. So should you present a buyer letter? I'm not going to say no that you shouldn't, because sometimes it may be the thing that takes you over the edge. I did have one buyer where the seller asked specifically, he was selling his family home that he raised his kids at, who he was selling it to. And so I had my buyer write them a letter to talk about how they had some kids and they were going to have more kids and how it was going to be a family home moving forward. And I do think that that helped buy that property. I truly believe that your offer is just down in the black and white of the paper that we present. And a lot of times, as a listing agent, I'm going to say, hey, look, here's your buyer letter. Isn't that cool? Crump it up and throw it. Okay, here's our offers. Right? That's what I would do as a listing agent. But as a buyer's agent, I've done it before. It'll probably be done again. And it's probably something I may recommend if it warrants it based upon the situation. What's it going to take to make your offer more appealing to the seller in every phase of the transaction? Number 8, the simple one. More money still wins 9 out of 10 times. That's just the way it is. All right, everybody, the secret's out. Without paying $59.99.95. Is that what I said? Whatever. Thanks for watching these 8 steps to a winning offer here in Rapid City, South Dakota. If you like what you've been seeing, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all the things. Keep watching the videos, and remember, love where you live.